Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Sam Pittman, Bobby Petrino getting active in the transfer portal, landing the commitment from former Boise State quarterback Taylen Green. And you take a look at Taylen Green and what to be excited for if you're an Arkansas fan is not necessarily what Taylen Green is right now, but what he can be with the development of Bobby Petrino. In that Bobby Petrino offense, Taylen Green, a kid that not really dynamic the last 2 years for Boise State. Don't get me wrong. This is a phenomenal football player as we speak, but a guy that pretty much has every skill set Bobby Petrino wants in a quarterback. And you look at the success that he has had with certain quarterbacks. This is kind of the prototype quarterback Bobby Petrino wants. They go out and get him from Boise State. Really excited to talk a little bit about Taylen Green, how he's going to fit into this Arkansas offense. And then talk a little bit more about some other transfer portal targets that Arkansas is going after. Before we get into it, just want to say thank you to you guys. And this is an Arkansas team that we made a little wish list for the Razorbacks heading into this transfer portal cycle. We'll kind of update you guys on how that is going. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. I have a feeling this is not going to be the last Arkansas update that we have because it looks like Sam Pittman, Bobby Petrino, they're going to get aggressive in the transfer portal, specifically on the offensive side of the football. Again, appreciate you guys rocking with the boys. And without further ado, let's get into Taylen Green and going over, I've watched a lot of Boise State football in the Mountain West, and Taylen Green, one of the more dynamic quarterbacks that you see not only in the Mountain West Conference, but in the entire country, right? 6'6", 220 pounds, looks quite frankly bigger than that, but phenomenal burners when he gets to that second level. Last 2 seasons has thrown for over 3,700 yards, 25 touchdowns, and only 15 interceptions. But what you're most excited for if you're an Arkansas fan, over 1,000 rushing yards, 19 touchdowns, still has 2 years of eligibility remaining. And a guy that Bobby Petrino, I'm sure Bobby Petrino is fired up about this. Like Taylen Green, 6'6", massive, massive arm, extremely athletic in terms of running and getting outside the pocket. Checks off all the boxes of what Bobby Petrino wants. And what's more exciting is that there's a lot of meat left on the bone for a guy like Taylen Green. You look at other quarterbacks that are in the transfer portal right now, and just to throw a few names out there, like Grayson McCall, Dylan Gabriel, Cam Moore, like there's just a lot of quarterbacks that you kind of know what they are. And they're going to transfer, and they're going to play really, really good at whatever spot they go to. Taylen Green, not only has he been good his first 2 years of starting at Boise State, but a guy that has a lot of meat on the bone left in terms of his development. He has a massive, massive arm talent, but only has that 59% completion percentage. And you're looking for him to dial in that accuracy, dial in that decision-making. But some of the stuff you can't teach, the frame that he has, the power in his arm, the athleticism he has, not only extending plays outside the pocket, but in those QB design runs. And this is a guy that has the body to kind of cake those hits. Not a lot of quarterbacks could operate the offense that KJ Jefferson operated the last couple of years at Arkansas. It's just too demanding physically on quarterbacks. Taylen Green has that body type in terms of delivering it to opposing linebackers that are going to be trying to tackle him. And what's a little bit exciting about Taylen Green is KJ Jefferson, phenomenal quarterback, especially running the football. Taylen Green has a little bit more juice in the open field. Kind of turn that 20-yard play to a 70-yard rush and a touchdown. He's got a track background. He's one of the fastest players on the football field at 220 pounds. And that's what you're most excited for if you're Arkansas. And you take a look at some of the guys coming back in this Arkansas offense, right? Isaac Tesla announces that he'll return. He's a guy that if you were watching Arkansas on Saturdays, he popped some stuff. And obviously in that Dan Enos offense, it just really struggled to get that passing attack and get those wide receivers involved at times. But there is some talent that's going to be around whatever quarterback is playing in this Arkansas offense next year that excites you, right? Isaac Tesla being one, Luke Haza, a young tight end that I think is truly going to be a difference maker for Arkansas. But taking a look at what they've already brought in, which is on the offensive line, right? You take a look, they got active in the transfer portal early with a guy like Keyshawn Blackstock, who coming from Michigan State was a former top JUCO prospect. And what you see him with Keyshawn Blackstock's, again, a guy that has the potential to be an all-SEC caliber offensive lineman, right? 6'5", 315, really, really good athlete. And then you'll go out and get Andreas Poskin. That tight end room, I think I said his name right, is absolutely loaded. So the offensive talent is there. A couple of guys that I wouldn't mind seeing Arkansas go after, and we kind of talked about this. I think you're excited about the playmaking that's going to be around the quarterback here. But if you want this offense to be successful, especially in a Sam Pittman-led program, the trenches have to get addressed. And we've talked about it before. KJ Jefferson was one of the most sacked quarterbacks, not only in the SEC, but in the entire country last year. That offensive line, not only struggling in pass protection, giving up well over 100 pressures on the year, but really struggled to get the run game going. And that's an Arkansas offense that's going to be predicated running the football. If that run game doesn't get going, the Arkansas offense really doesn't get going as a whole. So you look at some of the biggest transfer portal needs, it's got to be on the offensive line. And a few guys have popped up on Arkansas's radar, I guess you will, that really excite me. I'm going to go to Ethan Miner first, plays center for North Texas, formerly at Arkansas State. So you have that in-state kind of connection there. Ethan Miner at North Texas in 2023 was phenomenal. Not only in terms of moving bodies in the run game, but in pass protection was absolute dynamite. 543 pass block attempts, only gave up 6 pressures, 0 sacks. Ethan Miner is one of the more veteran interior offensive linemen that you see in the transfer portal. And we all know how important it is to have a veteran center that is kind of, especially if you have a young quarterback like Taylen Green leading the offense. And Ethan Miner, a guy that's played a ton of football, whether it's at Arkansas State, whether it's at North Texas, I think has to be a massive priority for the Arkansas Razorbacks. And if they get this offensive line figured out, with Bobby Petrino coming in and calling the plays, a massive upgrade from what we saw with Dan Enos, this Arkansas offense can get back, because I think the quarterback, there's a high ceiling in the quarterback room. I think you're really happy about the playmakers that you have on the outside. If this offensive line can clean it up, get it together, that's how you're looking at this offense get back. And I think the key for offensive line and building offensive lines, you got to get depth and you got to get healthy competition, right? I think Arkansas lacked both of those. I don't think they had a ton of competition. They didn't have a lot of depth. And they also, and think in turn, they didn't have a great starting 5. And guys who were not playing very well, they didn't really have any other options to go to. So whether Ethan Miner comes in and is immediately a starter, which I think he certainly could be, or just a depth piece in this Arkansas offense, I think you're really excited about Ethan Miner potentially winding up in Arkansas. Another guy that I've seen kind of Arkansas kicking the tires on a little bit is Fernando Carman, tackle from San Jose State, who again is a guy that at the Mountain West Conference has been really good. 425 pass blocking snaps at that tackle spot, 12-game starter, only gave up 13 pressures. And so you have the ability to maybe get 2 or 3 plug-and-play offensive linemen through the transfer portal, and that's what is the benefit of the transfer portal, right? Say what you will about how it's affecting college football as a program, you have the ability to completely retool an offensive line. You saw Auburn do it last year. They took 4 guys who ended up starting for Auburn last year in a massively improved offensive line, and they were all guys from the transfer portal. So you have the ability to have this offensive line and, to snap your fingers, become a very improved unit, but you have to execute the transfer portal. And getting a guy like Ethan Miner, getting a guy like Fernando Carman, who both of these guys have plenty of other Power 5 offers, would be absolutely massive. And again, going back to Taylen Green, I think for Arkansas fans, and I'm really excited to see him in this Arkansas offense, because Taylen Green is a guy that's special. Like the stuff that Taylen Green is bringing to the table from a physical tool set standpoint is different from a lot of quarterbacks that you see across the country. Does he need to develop as a quarterback, as a pocket passer? Absolutely, right? 25 touchdowns to 15 interceptions is not elite. 59% completion percentage is not elite. But Bobby Petrino has proven time and time again that he can develop quarterbacks. And so you get Taylen Green in there, a high upside quarterback. You get the best out of him. You're looking at a really dynamic quarterback for this Arkansas offense. And you get that offensive line figured out. You maybe sprinkle in some other playmakers on the outside, maybe some additions on the defense that we'll talk about in probably further episodes. I think you're really excited. So for Arkansas fans, Taylen Green heading to Arkansas, a lot to be excited about. Again, appreciate you guys checking us out. We'll be sure to update you guys as much as possible in terms of Arkansas transfer portal additions. Appreciate the support. If you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.